Tonight on CTV News, a city councillor doesn't see the Sumner skate park as a priority, a broadband announcement to keep smiles up in rural Canterbury, and could this be the next sweet idea?
Broadcasting across Canterbury, from the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Kia ora, good evening, welcome to CTV News, now streaming live every night at ctv.co.nz. Well, Canterbury Police are warning motorists to take care on State Highway 1 between Dunsandel and Rugby, with high winds in the area causing a number of dust storms. This follows strong gale force winds from the weekend, seeing power outages and disruptions for flights at Christchurch International Airport. Police say conditions are extremely dangerous and are urging drivers to avoid the area if possible until the winds die down. Well, to today's other news now, it's a waste of time and money. That's what one Christchurch City Councillor says about Sumner's proposed skate park. Chelsea Daniels has more.
Councillor Paul Lonsdale says the Sumner skate park proposal is not a priority for the council.
Well, look, that is part of the issue. It will not be a priority to find money that we don't have for the skate park. Whilst Levi's was funding it, great, we're all for it. We did actually invest some money into the project to get it to this point, but now that funding's being pulled, we cannot afford to carry on with a process that is unlikely to be funded.
American clothing brand Levi's withdrew its $180,000 funding for the project in August this year, after consent process for the skate park was stalled.
Problem being is that Levi's have pulled their funding, and now that we have no funding, I just can't understand why we're spending more money to go through a resource consent process when there's no funding in place.
He says the cost of a skate park in the Sumner area would cost upwards of $400,000, a cost he thinks the public don't realise.
We've already spent about close to $100,000 already on this here. The resource consent process is going to be another $40,000 to $60,000. So there's other added costs over and above the design and build. And the particular skate park that was proposed to put there was sort of for the low level, sort of young kids up to the age of about 11. So it didn't have a lot of aspects to it to give it that excitement that kids look for.
Lonsdale has pulled the council's decision to go ahead with the resource consents for the skate park and will break the news to the community at tonight's community board hearing.
I'm expecting that the community board will support it. And there may be some added notice of motion to be tacked onto that to maybe change things we can do in the future.
And he says the proposal shouldn't have been signed in the first place.
I think if we look at the funding model that we had with Levi's, I think I would actually have made as part of the resolution, the original resolution, that if the funding changed or was withdrawn, then the project would be halted in its tracks at that point. So that was, I think, a mistake we made, that we should have actually added that in there.
He says there's no shortage of development in Sumner.
The council certainly doesn't have the funds. I don't actually see the council supporting funds to be spent on this project when we've got other priorities. And, look, if we look realistically, Sumner's, they've got a $10 million library and museum and community centre rebuild. We've had the Scarborough paddling pool just on just under $800,000, and we've invested $10 million in the coastal pathway, which will connect right through to Sumner.
Public submissions through the Have a Say website ends today, with the future of the skate park still uncertain. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
3 men will appear in the Christchurch District Court tomorrow, charged with possessing over $1,000 worth of stolen jewellery. The males, aged between 23 and 27, tried to sell the stolen jewels to a local jewellery store earlier this month. Police are asking for the public's help to return the items to their original owners and are keen to hear from anyone who has seen the items for sale within the last month. Well, for many online users, an advertisement at the start of your favourite on-demand show or video can be quite frustrating. But the Christchurch company is hoping to change that, taking their new high-tech product to the world. It's taken them some time to complete the dream, developing an app to give mobile users a new experience. It's a new way to interact. And it all started right here in Canterbury.
I was asked to come in and meet with some people at the University of Canterbury in the HIT lab at the university, and saw some things going on there that were kind of interesting, and they were focused on this concept of interaction. And I thought, well, there's some opportunity to do some things with that in a really commercial sense.
The homegrown software development company has been busy for nearly a decade, creating a new smartphone application to give users what the business says is a new experience.
As we really look at how brands can connect with consumers in this very modern media age where people are consuming media in all sorts of different forms. So they're watching television, they're listening to the radio, they're online, but they're also typically on their phone at the same time as they're doing other things.
Around $2.5 million has been spent to turn this idea into a reality. Now the company, also based in the US, is taking the app to the world.
So we create experiences for brands where, rather than advertising at people on their phones,
many big-name companies worldwide have jumped on board, including a dog food business, with 15 million users taking advantage of the new technology worldwide. In this case, it determines what pet you should get that looks similar to you.
They can create these really fun and engaging experiences that people can choose to pick up a product, interact with a product with their phone, and they get this really cool experience.
And it's all thanks to your camera.
That means it can see. So why not pick up a product, look at it with your phone, and get an experience based on what your phone is seeing. We can hear. So the phone's got a microphone, we can listen to what's going on, and we can build experiences based around that.
Some would compare the app like a QR code used on many products to interact with customers by taking a photo, which then takes you to their website. But Plymouth says their product's different.
QR codes have been around for nearly 30 years now. That's a 2D barcode that people are familiar with seeing on their products. And we've developed computer vision technology here in Christchurch to recognise products. So we can actually see which product people are looking at and then build an engagement around that.
They're hoping to expand the company over the next year, well over doubling their staff from 7 to 17.
We've recruited talent here locally, we've brought interns on board, given them full-time professional careers, developing this technology, and they've had this really fun time working with big global brands, working with amazing music artists, doing film launches. We've helped launch Despicable Me in the US, we've worked with Tron, on the music front, we've worked with Skrillex, we've worked with Big Sean, which, you know, if you're into your electronic music or your hip-hop, are really familiar names.
Although designed to target a younger audience, they hope to see mobile users not just in New Zealand, but around the globe taking up their creation. And as for those 15-second pop-up ads,
it is our pet hate, and we want to be part of the solution that eliminates that from the face of the earth. We really believe that users should be in control of what happens on their device.
The official launch is expected by March next year. Jared McCulloch, CTV News. Well, still to come here on CTV News, a national broadband announcement to keep Cantab farmers happy. Welcome back to CTV News. Well, Sumner's Hollywood cinema has been sold to a local family. It's the city's oldest surviving cinema, being sold for just over $900,000. It first opened back in 1938 and has been screening movies ever since, and last year it won the People's Choice Award for the Best Independent Cinema at the New Zealand Motion Picture Awards. It's the first time since the 70s that the iconic property has been on the market, with about 30 people interested in the investment. Well, it's hoped nearly every Kiwi throughout the country will experience 10 times faster internet speeds by 2025. But does this mean rural parts of Canterbury will finally get the connection they've been hoping for? Chelsea Daniels reports.
The government has announced plans for a 10-year strategy for national broadband. They want 99% of Kiwis to experience download speeds of 50 megabits per second by 2025, with only about 40% being able to do that now. But how realistic is this figure?
I think it's eminently achievable, and you know, I'd like to hope it will go even further, but at the same time we want to be bold with our vision, but also be realistic.
The remaining 1% should be able to access speeds of 10 megabits per second. Rural communities have experienced long delays on reliable broadband, and Adam says it's no surprise.
Well, it's very expensive. As you get into a situation where you have only a small number of people occupying a large area of land, the cost gets higher and higher. And one of the things that I don't think often rural communities are aware of is the government has so far spent $2 billion on connectivity programs, and actually we're spending more per person in the rural areas than we are in the urban areas. But in the rural areas, it costs so much more to do a connection.
She says the importance of high-speed broadband for New Zealanders is vital, especially in rural areas like North Canterbury.
I get so passionate about this stuff. Every single thing we do is going to be revolutionised by technology. So whether it's getting education out to our kids, even in the most remote communities, whether it's providing healthcare from birth to right through to old age, the internet means that we can have the highest quality of resource available everywhere. It's around connecting as communities and as individuals. It's, Skyping your grandkids on the other side of the world.
She says rural communities will benefit the most under the new targets, which mark a tenfold increase on the current peak speeds.
When the National Government took office in 2008, rural broadband speeds were incredibly low. They were less, for most people, less than 1 megabit a second. I know in my home we were getting about 200 kilobits a second, so that's 0.2 of a megabit. So we set our first goal as saying we wanted to get that up to 5 megabits a second, which is a pretty good functional speed and a huge improvement on what was there. And so that's what the Rural Broadband Initiative has been about.
And rural communities should expect to see faster internet by the end of next year.
Well, by the end of December next year, we will have finished the rollout of what we're calling RBI, so the Rural Broadband Initiative Phase 1, and that's to get speeds of 5 megabits a second available to 97.8% of New Zealand. So that's where we'll be then, and as I said, that's a huge step forward. But already we're working on the Rural Broadband Initiative Phase 2, which is to move those speeds up even further.
The 2025 target is aligned with the government's approach to boosting economic growth throughout the country.
It's absolutely transformative. We had a report out from the Innovation Partnership last year that said that if all of the small businesses in New Zealand were making the most of the internet to not only do things like drive sales, but actually to increase productivity, to monitor their efficiency, to track their environmental impacts, we could see productivity gains of around $34 billion. So there are huge wins in this. As I said, whether it's, if you're on a farm, whether it's monitoring pasture growth, effluent levels, water levels, production levels in real time, the efficiency gains are tremendous.
Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
It's Mental Health Awareness Week, and Health Minister Jonathan Coleman says it's important people get the mental health support and services they need. 1 in 5 New Zealanders are affected by mental illness every year, with depression and anxiety the most common forms. For more information on this year's theme, Give, and what you can do to support others, you can visit the Mental Health Foundation's Awareness Week website at mhaw.nz. Well, the Canterbury referee has reached a milestone, refereeing her 20th first-class rugby match when Canterbury defeated Manawatu at Rugby Park in Christchurch. Gordon Finlater reports.
Chelsea Gurr became just the 3rd woman to bring up the 20th first-class match milestone. The accomplishment has been a long time in the making, with Gurr reffing rugby games for the past 12 years.
I played coach and umpired netball. I then moved to Nelson and was playing social netball, and that turns out I'm a little bit competitive for a social grade, which I was told, so I ended up following my dad who referees to his meeting and sort of went from there when I was 15.
With Gurr's father also a referee, it's hard to argue that it's not in the blood.
I do remember him telling me not that long ago that it's the only thing that he didn't have to rush me out of the door for, so that shows I sort of had some kind of passion in there for myself.
A female officiating what is very much a male-orientated gladiatorial game must come with its challenges. Gurr has had to get used to the odd comment, nothing she can't handle though.
I've had many, some relatively funny and some a little bit on the not so funny side, but you don't get this far without having a bit of thick skin. Usually what happens is it's a bit of a shock when I first turn up. I think it's the same with most of us girls. However, sort of 10 minutes into a game, I don't care who you are, what you look like, or if you're a girl or boy, but you end up just being that ref.
In recent years, Gurr has been lucky enough to ref on the men's and women's International Rugby 7 circuit. It's not something she envisioned when signing up to ref the game, but the job has come with the added bonus of being able to travel the world.
So we've had Australia, Hong Kong, China, Dubai, London, Amsterdam, Brazil and USA. I think that's it.
Having the opportunity to blow the whistle on the other side of the globe has also created many career highlights.
I had a semi-final on Twickenham. That was pretty awesome. That was during the men's sevens, so we got to be in the big stadium with a huge crowd and stuff like that. That was pretty special. Same with my first Dubai sevens. That was also just the same thing, crowd, and yeah, the stadiums are standing in the middle of them. They're not, everyone's not cheering for you, but it still feels pretty cool.
While summer is all but here, it's not quite the off-season for Ger yet, with a couple of big games still on her calendar for 2015.
Our Women's Championship, that's really cool. Luckily, I've been appointed to a semi-final this weekend, which is pretty awesome. I think it's the first time in a long time that I know that they've actually had semi-finals, so it just shows that the women's game's growing.
While she's been taking centre stage in our women's provincial games in recent years, what does Ger think about the possibility of a female taking charge of a men's NPC game in the future?
Yep. If the fitness criteria and everything matches the boys, I don't see why not. So I think New Zealand Rugby are pretty relatively open to that, as long as you're meeting those benchmarks, so which is pretty cool.
And if she's lucky enough to be the first, it will surely be a milestone to remember. Gordon Findlater, CTV Sport.
Well, still to come here on CTV News, a Canterbury's online post goes viral and your region's weather forecast. Welcome back to CTV News. The Silver Ferns squad has been named for the upcoming Consolation Cup against Australia, with Bailey Mears being the only mainland tactics player to make the team. Wing attack Ericana Pedersen and defender Zoe Walker were also invited to the Silver Fern selection camp this week, but missed out. Mears was part of the team's recent second place finishing at the Netball World Championships. They'll be looking to get one back over the rivals this time round, with the series getting underway in Christchurch later this month before their three further games in Auckland, Melbourne and Perth. There we go. Alrighty, time now for your region's weather forecast.
Good evening, Canterbury. Well, those northwesterly winds were working really hard today, turning up the heat with them gusting through. Quite warm. Today's highs for South Canterbury, 27 for you, Timaru, 24 for Geraldine, Temuka and Waimate. Central Canterbury, bit of a furnace for Christchurch, 29-degree high for you, 27 for Akaroa, 26 for Leeson and Darfield and 25 for Ashburton. Heading further north, more warm winds for you guys. 28 degrees was the high for Kaikoura, Cheviot, Amberley and Rangiora, 27 for Hanmer Springs and Culverden and Oxford. And over to the mountain ranges, a little bit colder here, 19 for Lake Tekapo and 16 for Mount Cook. Now tomorrow we are expecting a southwesterly change, so it could be a little bit fresh for Timaru. 15 degrees is your expected high during the day, cloudy skies but hopefully a few sunny spells as well. Ashburton, expect that southwesterly first thing as well. 13 degrees for your high during the day and just 3 for your morning start, a little bit different to what you had this morning. Christchurch, southwesterlies for you, 14 degrees during the day, cloudy skies there and could be an odd chance of a shower or two. Kaikoura, the chance of a showery rainfall as well, but nothing too harmful, 15 degrees for your high and 5 for your morning low there. The rest of the Canterbury region will also see some southwesterlies first up, and 15 degrees is the high expected for Waimate, 14 for you, Twizel. Central Canterbury, a little bit cooler here for your Thursday, 13 degrees is the high for Akaroa, 16 for Leeson and Methven, and Darfield 15 degrees for you. Heading further north, we're seeing those southwesterlies really pushing through. Could be a little bit fresh in the afternoon. 15 degrees for almost everyone, apart from you, Rangiora, taking out 16. And over to the mountain ranges, we're seeing just 7 degrees for you, Arthur's Pass, 14 for Mount Cook, but could be a little bit of rain here and there during the day. On Friday, we're seeing that sunshine and cloudy skies for some. A little bit cooler, 17 there for Kaikoura and Ashburton on 15. 15, but just light winds and sea breezes for some. Heading to Saturday, we're seeing beautiful sunny skies. Should be blue overhead, 20 degrees there for Christchurch, and Kaikoura 18 for you. The rest of the Canterbury region on Friday can expect that sunshine. Sea breezes, particularly for Kaikoura and Christchurch, but mostly light winds for everyone else. Flipping over to Saturday, we're seeing sunshine as well. No excuses to stay indoors because it's going to be a really nice hot one. Hopefully maybe even get hot enough to do some sunbathing. So over the next few days, we are seeing that southwesterly come through tomorrow morning, so it could be a little bit fresh. And again, those warnings in place for high country areas and exposed inland places with those severe winds gusting on through this evening. And that's your update for Wednesday.
Thanks for that, Mercy. Well, finally tonight, a Sweet Tooth local has possibly come up with the next big craze on the confectionery front. His creation of the K-Block was posted on Whittaker's Facebook page, taking the internet by storm. It's possibly his sweetest idea yet, calling himself an ideas man. This long post on social media came close to breaking the internet last night, with this Canterbury suggesting what Whittaker's next combined product should be, taking one of his favourite childhood treats.
I've always enjoyed K-bars, and I like the fact that Whittaker's made them. It was always that little quirk because they seem so unlike all the other stuff they put out. Like it was in the same kind of wrap you'd find 20 years ago. You know, they can just bring those two things together that they already have under their one roof and make something that brings back childhood nostalgia.
Since being online, it has the backing of over 13,000 people who liked the post, being up online for just over 36 hours, not ever thinking it would get so much attention.
I was confident that it was an entertaining idea, at least, didn't anticipate that. So it was really cool to see a lot of people enjoying it.
He also added a write-up explaining why it should be next, saying it's better than the bowl cut and the Macarena. I thought it was still groovy.
It's been really nice to see so many people enjoying it, and it is a little bit of silliness and a bit of fun, but nice that everyone's been so positive about it.
The company was recently named the country's most trusted brand 4 years running, and they've been experimenting with iconic Kiwi brands, creating a new range.
The jelly tip was the most interesting of those. I love Hundreds and Thousands biscuits, big thing from my childhood. Chocolate was good, but the jelly tip combination was definitely the top one.
The L&P one?
Yeah, L&P one was pretty good. It was interesting. Probably something good to try once, and then I'm okay with it after that.
But Boyle believes the K-Bar could be next in the production line.
Just a nice, fun novelty. We've got strong associations with not only the actual food, but the brand as well, and it reminds us of childhood and reminds us of other things. And to have that come together into something, maybe a combination that you wouldn't necessarily expect, it's really fun to try that. In particular, it's like, you want to be the first one out to try that. You want to be the first one to bring it to your friends. So, it's really cool.
Nothing has been confirmed yet. However, Whittaker's replied back to his post.
They said they were going to pass the idea on to their product development manager to see what else they could do. And were kind enough to offer a box of K-bars and creamy milk to experiment on and see what I could come up with.
He decided to give his sweet treats to charity, but he hasn't stopped with the Choc Block.
Recently had the combination of Pascal jet planes and iced animal biscuits. Found those together, great little combination there. Don't know if the two companies can come together to smash that together, but I definitely think there are legs in that one.
But for now, he'll be hoping Whittaker's give the OK to the K-Block. Jared McCulloch, CTV News. What will they think of next? Well, that's CTV News for Wednesday. You can find all our stories and bulletins on demand at ctv.co.nz. But for now, thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jared McCulloch. Have a great evening.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.